Hello, a very lovely good evening down here from Delhi, and I take this opportunity to welcome each one of you. And I also take this opportunity to actually welcome you on behalf of SuperProfs, who have been very, very instrumental and who have been taking what we call great pains in beaming our lectures to each and every student residing in every nook and corner of the country. So it's a privilege for me to be a part of SuperProfs, of course, and unquestionably, which has become now the largest educational portal as far as what we call online coaching and online teaching is concerned. So once again, a great thanks to SuperProfs, their staffs, their team members, and all those who have been associated and who have been working very hard behind the scenes, actually. So, time now to start the journey for which we have assembled here, as you can see on your screen, actually. That is the reason why we have assembled here. Of course, we are going to start the journey for CS Executive Company Accounts course, English medium. And those among you actually who feel comfortable with Hindi, for them actually a separate course of mine is running parallelly on the platform of SuperProfs itself. So in case if you feel more comfortable with Hindi, you can go for that particular course. This is purely in English medium. Correct? But anyway, language should not become what we call a point of clash. So that is the reason actually we have been providing our separate courses both in Hindi and English also. So first of all, I take this opportunity to congratulate you, because now you are in CS Executive, which means that each one of you have actually cleared your first level of foundation paper. So now you have entered into the territory zone, I call it actually. That means your real journey actually now starts from here. So time also to put a little bit more efforts actually what you have been putting up so far, and I'm very sure that each one of you are well capable of what we call carrying out your task very well, because things are absolutely clear, and 1 or 2 years efforts, and after that your life will be, I'm very sure, will be full of roses, as we call in English. Correct? So let me actually make it also very clear that it's a prerogative and sheer pleasure in interacting with the student, and especially with the student fraternity. They are a very vibrant fraternity, and they always keep me, even at 49, very vibrant and very young. That's the reason actually I like the company of a student fraternity. So, as I told you, we all have assembled here to start this journey for Company Accounts English Medium course. Of course, this is one of the subject at CS Executive level, and but we are covering only the company accounts part, and for audit you will have to go for some other what we call faculties course. So the first thing is first, that this is the introductory session. I'm not going to actually take any particular what we call a theoretical topic, or for that instance any subjectual topic, but this particular lecture, my only advice to you is that you must go entirely over this particular lecture, because often I have find that students sometimes actually miss the first lecture and they directly what we call start attempting the what we call topic-wise chapters. This particular session is important in many regards, because we are not only going to talk about your subject, about the topics which we are going to cover, but we will also take into account our strategical efforts, that how we are going to cover the course, how we shall actually go about the entire course. We will also talk about the fact that when a student joins an online coaching, actually what sort of phobia and what sort of what we call fears and scares he has, and we shall also talk about that how we are going to ultimately wrap up this particular journey. So here we go, and we are going to start our journey, of course, and sometimes students actually are very keen that you please tell something about you. I'm very sure that most of the students actually know about me, but anyway, those among you who are still unfamiliar. So what should I call? What should I say regarding myself? I have been in the state now since almost last 2 decades, almost 20 years. It's a pretty long journey, and have seen all the ups and downs of the trade. I'm very fortunate in having what we call great love and affection of the student fraternity, and I sincerely conceive this actually, that whatever I am today is sheer out of the love and affection and the loyalty of the students. Whatever I have been able to actually achieve in my life by the grace of God, I must admit you have played a very, very big role in it. So that's all I want to say, nothing more, nothing less. So now directly we should actually come to the point. So we should now actually start your what we call this journey. So it's been a common saying that we should start the things from where it starts. So we start our proceedings of this particular what we call session with the syllabus which you are going to have and which we are supposed to cover. It is very important at this level, especially the executive level, and whenever we actually do any professional course, the first thing is that we have to be very, very honest to ourselves, because it is very easy to be honest to others, but sometimes it becomes very difficult to be honest to yourself. You need to be honest in the sense that when you ask a particular question to yourself, you should not have any hitch and hish in delivering a concrete reply to it. What I mean to say is that you make a promise to yourself that you have to not only complete this particular course, but you have to complete the company secretaryship course, not only for you, but for those who have got great hopes relied upon you. Correct? So we start this journey now actually with the syllabus. So which are the topics which we are going to cover up? I am going to write, if you are interested, you can write too. The first topic, of course, is issue of share capital. Issue of share capital. So this is the topic, issue of share capital. Besides that, we are going to cover bonus issue, correct? Then we are also going to cover rights issue, employees stock option plans, employees stock option plan, employees stock option plan, then buyback of shares, buyback of shares. Buyback of shares. Under it, we are going to learn the accounting concept that when a company buys its own share from the market, how the accounting pattern will unfold, what exactly are the advantages to a particular company when it buys back its own share, why buyback is done. So we are going to seek answers to such questions. Of course, we will answer these questions only when we will take up this particular topic of buyback of shares later on. Then we are going to do underwriting of shares and debenture. You must have heard about underwriters, isn't it or not? Have you heard? Underwriting. Oh, I will have to rub it. Just hold on for a while. Right. Underwriting of shares and debentures. So what we are supposed to study under it, underwriting of shares and debentures. When a company issues shares in the market, there is no surety that our shares will be subscribed as per our expectations. Suppose I am a company and I am issuing 1 lakh share in the market at the rate of rupees 10. So logically, I should receive 10 lakh worth of money from the public. But is there any surety attached to it that all my 1 lakh share will be purchased, or should I say subscribed by the public? No. So sometime company has got what we call this sort of dilemma, that whatever shares we are offering to the public, whether those shares will be subscribed as per the expectations of the company or not. So there is always a hunch, there is always a scare. So in order to overcome such a scare, company gets their share underwritten. There are institutions and individuals actually who provide such services. They are known as underwriters. So when a company gets its shares and debentures underwritten, how the accounting pattern will unfold. So that is what we are going to learn out of this particular chapter. Correct? Then seventh one, issue and redemption of debenture. You must have done this chapter at your earlier phases of education. Issue and redemption of debentures. To some, this chapter seems easy, and to others, this chapter seems tough. Issue and redemption of shares. Honestly speaking, not a tough chapter, very easy. You must have done it also in your class 11, 12. Then another chapter you have got is final accounts, preparation of final accounts. So as per Companies Act 2013, as you might be aware of, correct, a Schedule 3 has been inserted. So how the final accounts would be prepared by an enterprise, by company in fact, correct, how the final accounts shall be prepared by a company, a corporate body, as per the formats given by Schedule 3 of Companies Act 2013. We are going to learn that out of this particular chapter, because nowadays, as you might be aware of, that trading account, profit and loss account, P&L appropriation is not prepared. Rather, it is not prepared in the manner which we are accustomed to. Now it will be prepared as per the new formats which has been delivered by Schedule 3. So how final accounts shall be prepared, that is the theme of this particular chapter, and that is what we are going to learn out of it. Then we have profit prior to incorporation. Profit prior to incorporation. Profit prior to incorporation. Profit prior to incorporation. Incorporation means registration. Generally, we are of the view that a company can start or commence the business only after taking the birth. And as you are well aware of the fact that a company can take birth only when it receives what we call certificate of incorporation, commonly known as certificate of registration. Correct? Isn't it or not? That's the view generally held by each one of us. But that is not true actually. We will see now at this particular level that a company sometimes start what we call business even before taking the birth. You might be wondering how it is possible, but this curiosity of yours will be satisfied once we will take up this particular chapter, profit prior to incorporation. So whatever profits an entity, an enterprise actually earns before its birth or before what we call receipt of certificate of registration, how that profit has been earned, how it would be dealt up with. So these are the questions which will be answered by this particular chapter. Correct? Then 10th is managerial remuneration. Managerial remuneration. The directors, whole-time directors, managing directors, and even managers are known as managerial personnel. Because they have got tremendous influence over the company, they have got tremendous control over the company, it is quite obvious that they can influence the functioning of the company. And because they are controller of the company, it could be a possibility that they might actually take away a big amount of profits earned by the company to their pockets in the form of their remuneration. It is very much a possibility, isn't it or not? Suppose if I am the sole in charge of a particular organization, it could be a possibility that I may take heavy amount of profits earned by my organization to my pocket. So, managerial remuneration. So, such malpractices should not be done by the managerial personnel. Some acts and provisions have been enacted. Under it, we will see that there is a limit to the remuneration which the managerial personnel can draw. Correct? So, what exactly is the maximum remuneration which the managerial personnel can take as their remuneration? That we are going to study under this particular topic, managerial remuneration. Then, there is another important chapter, value added. It's a small chapter, value added. And along with it, there is another chapter, economic value added. These are latest developments in accounts, economic value added. So value added statements and economic value added, these are the chapters which we are going to study. Also, these are late and recent developments in accounts. We will see actually that under value added statements, we will try to find out that how a company is contributing to the society, to the government, to its own employees, and to its directors, and to those actually who are funding the company. Correct? So it is personally believed that a company should contribute to the various substratum of the society. So we want to know what exactly is the contribution of the company to the society as a whole, to the government also, because government is providing them so much of infrastructure. So what the company is doing to the government, correct? How they are contributing to the government's efforts, how they are taking what we call care of their employees who have been what we call putting up efforts day in, day out. So these are the questions which will be answered by this particular question. So these are, as I said, actually recently developed what we call accounting concepts. So we will have a lot to discuss when we will take what we call these chapters. Then we will take up amalgamation of companies. Heavy chapter, amalgamation of companies. Under it, we will try to find out the accounting pattern when two companies or more than two companies combine together and they form a single entity. Amalgamation of companies. Interesting chapter. But unfortunately, I have seen that sometimes a student unnecessarily ignore this chapter. It's a scoring chapter. Then internal reconstruction. Internal reconstruction. Internal reconstruction. So often a company accumulates huge amount of profits and the financial position of the company is not very sound. So what steps an entity takes to overcome such a scenario, that will be answered by internal reconstruction. Correct? So these are the things which are very much a part of your course, and besides that you will have to actually study. I'm writing it over here because of a space constraining factor. That is accounting standard. Again, I must say, through my experience, I've already told you I have been in the trade since last 20 years. I have seen actually student fraternities sometimes they get a great phobia whenever they go through this word accounting standards. And many students actually, they ignore it. My sincere advice to you is that you should not leave anything to chance. It is very important for you to, especially if you happen to pursue a professional course, that you should leave nothing to chance. 100% of the course must be done. It should be the duty of the student and the fraternity both to see to it that they are very honest in their efforts. Our effort should be to cover each and every facet of your course, 100%. And of course, on your part, you should be honest enough to actually study those which have been taught to you. I'm very sure that the journey which we are going to actually start here, it ultimately will culminate into a wonderful, satisfying experience for each one of us. Correct? So, now these are the topics which we are supposed to cover. Now the next question, obviously, in your mind, sir, you told that you are going to talk about some strategical aspects. Definitely. So, how we are going to cover this particular chapters, of course, round one. Our strategical aspect will be, in round one, we will cover the entire course. Coverage of 100% course. Second important point is that once we shall have covered all the topics actually, the SuperProfs keeps on holding webinars also of various faculties. Through those webinars actually, we do some revisional work, correct? But even here, when we have covered our entire course, under round 2, we will take up some revisional dossiers. I call it revisional dossiers. Revisional dossiers. Then, after having completed in round 1 the entire course, of course, and we take great pride in covering more than anybody. So what my point is, not a very arrogant claim. Once you will go through a particular chapter, you yourself will admit, sir, you have covered actually wonderfully and more than anyone else. That's the reason actually I'm saying so. It's a vast coverage. It's a mass coverage. We should leave nothing to chance. It's very important to understand that. Then once we shall have covered the course, as I told you, after having completed the course, we'll go for the revisional dossiers, where we'll take up some selective questions. And after having done those questions, I'm very sure you'll find a little bit more at ease with the concepts of that chapter. Correct? Now, revisional dossiers, that we'll take under round 2. Then finally, we will take up some mock tests. Mock test. You will have to attend some mock test papers, which will be conducted by us, of course. Sir, how will you conduct the test? For that, my advice to you is that the moment actually you join a course, you should immediately send your email to us. Correct? That is the one thing you must keep an eye for. You must send your email to us. Correct? We will send you papers through that mail or through some other medium. You need not require to worry about that. Mock test papers will be sent. You will have to attempt. You should send back to us. We will solve it, and we will see to it that how your studies are moving forward. Correct? So mock test papers will be held, and finally, I will take also in round 4 rehearsal tests. Rehearsal tests. So these tests, I should call it simulatory tests, because it will be on similar patterns which ultimately you are going to face in real time. Is it clear to you? So that is 4-tier preparation we are going to do. I will call it 4-tier preparation. 4-tier. This is not tier, this is tier. Tier means layer. 4-tier preparation. Now, often a student are a little bit dilemmatic in the sense actually that sometimes they keep on querying us, sir, should they go for what we call other references? Should they do their module? It is your discretion. If you want to go for other material, it is your discretion, it is your choice, it is your prerogative. On our part, we may say with great pride and great arrogancy, if you allow me to use this word, that we have taken efforts enough to see to it that you can completely and faithfully bank upon our tutorials and our study materials. On our side, we can say with great surety and with great confidence that you need not require to hunt for any other study material. You can faithfully bank upon it. If honestly you are going to cover it, I'm very sure the results will be completely up to your expectations. Correct? This is all I can say regarding this. Then, sometimes student fraternity are also interested in knowing, sir, whether, because we are going for the online tutorials, so are these courses latest or some previous recordings have been done, or you are giving us some stale recording or something like this. See, you are a student of professional course. There are many things which you can know by yourself. With little bit of analysis, you can easily find whether these courses which are being watched by you are latest or not. You can get enough clues through our study material, which we are going to send to you, of course. Correct? You can find out from that particular study material itself that if I have given the latest examination question in it, and if the same has been covered in lecture, that means, of course, the video lectures are absolutely latest. But still I should try to erase your doubts and phobias both. Let me make it absolutely clear, and I hope that you would have a little bit of belief upon me, and especially at 49 with 20 years of experience, if I'm saying so. So you must believe me. Let me make it absolutely clear. These courses are absolutely latest, complying and conforming to the latest amendments, latest rules, latest regulations of every regulatory body, whether it happens to be ICSI, whether it happens to be ICAI, or ICMAI, or what we call RBI, or SBI guidelines. So all the latest provisions have been taken into account. Second, your tutorials, each faculty of SuperProfs, they see to it that they come to the studio almost every day and record the lecture. Even if the minutest of the amendment take place, we on our part actually try to incorporate it. So you need not require to worry regarding the what we call freshness of the course or not. So all I can say is that these are absolutely latest, conforming to the latest provisions, laws, regulations. Correct? So this is the biggest doubt of the online students. So I personally hope that I have been successful in erasing that out. Now, sometimes student may feel, sir, in case if we are going to have doubt, how will we get it clarified from the fraternity? The moment you are going to join the SuperProfs course, you will be offered a platform, correct, where you have every right to ask so many questions. On our part, we see to it that the queries are being delivered in a quick fire manner within a flick of a second. But sometime, it may happen because of our busy schedule also. And when you happen to be a very reputed faculty, you have to pay a price for the same also. So you need not require to pay the price. I am paying the price in the sense is that I am not having time much. But in spite of all these things, we try to give the queries the moment we receive. But sometime it may happen, because after all, we too are human beings. I might feel some sick, and if during the sickness I'm not able to reply you, you should not feel bad about it. That's my only point is that. So sometimes a little bit of patience and endurance is required from the student fraternity also. That's all my ardent wish. And last thing is that course is not tough, correct? And true test of minuteness comes to fore when chips are down. When we pursue a professional course, often we find ourselves confronted with various sort of what we call situations where frustration overwhelms us. So during such moments, you have to remember that, as I said in the beginning also, you are not pursuing this course only for your sake. There are many people who have great faith upon you, great hopes upon you. They might be your parents, they might be your friends, they might be your close ones, dear ones. So you have to actually be successful, not only for yourself, but for them also. So when you have such feelings in your mind always, and when you will never allow such feelings to what we call move out of your mind, I'm very sure that whatever type of situation is there, you will be able to overcome it. You will be able to control it. Correct? So this is all actually which I generally say in my first lecture. That is why I have kept the name as a must-watch lecture. So in this particular lecture, generally we talk about the syllabus. Generally we talk about how we'll go about the course. And of course, we try to answer such questions which generally students feel about the online coaching. So how far I have been successful, only time will tell. Of course, with the bated breath, I am going to wait for your feedback too, no doubt about that. So we have started the journey, and as I told you during the earlier what we call phase of this particular lecture, that I sincerely hope that the journey which we are going to start today, when it will culminate means when it will end, we both should feel satisfied with our association. That's all I wish, and I pray for your supreme success. With such wishes and with such thoughts and with lots of blessings to each one of you, I end on this particular note. It's a lovely good night from here in Delhi.